Hello, hello. So it's freezing today. It said it wasn't going to rain on the weather, and then it did. Now I'm wet and I'm cold, so I changed. And I'm wearing a sweater now, which is very comfy, and I'm very happy with it. Now that our little weather update has gone through, today's topic. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a video today because it's kind of been a crazy day. I've been up since 6, 5, I don't know. I had to be at a car dealership at 7 in the morning because my car likes to go and be difficult, and therefore I had to be at a dealership really early in the morning, and now my cats are fighting. Guys, are you gonna be like this every time? Playing innocent. Anyway, I had a lot going on, so I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but then something kind of came up and stirred emotions, and therefore here I am. About to talk about it to you guys, because it's cheaper than therapy. So my topic is, it's okay if you have a hard time making friends. This is something that I feel very strongly about, because throughout, I'm going to say all my life, I've had kind of trouble making and keeping friends. And it's not for lack of effort. So when I was younger, I got bullied a lot. Like, a lot. It was bad. And as everybody knows, and if you don't, look it up, bullying has a lot of negative side effects on like your mental health, on the way you see yourself, self-esteem, on just kind of how your body reacts to people sometimes. And I noticed this yesterday because I don't remember what I was doing. What was I doing yesterday? I had work yesterday and I ran errands yesterday. But I just felt this sudden realization that I didn't want to be around people. Now, if you know me, that sounds weird because all my life I've been an extrovert. I love people. I love being around people. I like talking to people, having meaningful connections with people. I'm the kind of person that if we're walking in the same grocery store, we bump into each other, I'll have a conversation. This morning when I was at the dealership, there was a lady who was sitting next to me, had a dog, and we struck up a great conversation while I was there. I like people, but yesterday I had this overwhelming feeling that I didn't want to be around people. And that was weird for me. And so I kind of sat down and I really thought about it, and I think part of it was I felt like I'd been burned by a lot of people lately. And I'm kind of tired of people. Now, if you're watching this and we became friends recently, or I got to know you recently, I am not talking about you, okay? If you think a lot of it applies to you, maybe you want to do some self-reflection. But I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just trying to process this thought while sharing it with you, because life is an adventure. And like the title says, experience is not required, so I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just blathering today. But a lot of people I felt recently either took advantage of the fact that I'm a little bit naive, and I'm not going to lie, I am, or I'm really giving and I have a tendency to overdo things. Like if you ask me to help you, I'm going to like volunteer all my time to help you all the time. And that's not good. And I want to do things for free almost because I want to help friends. And that's not a terrible thing in some cases. And then it gets to a point where it's not good. How does this fall into the topic of friends? Well, I've always felt like I've had a hard time making friends. And I've had days where I can just sit there and wallow and be like, nobody likes me, I don't have any friends, and I don't feel good. And that's not true. I do have friends. The problem is I don't have a lot, and they're far and few between, and we're very far away from each other. So I moved to San Antonio 2017? 2 years ago? 3 years ago. Wow, it's been 3 years now, huh? So I moved to San Antonio about 3 years ago, and none of my friends live here. I had one aunt who lived here who has since moved, so now none of my family lives here. And I don't know. I figured that I would throw myself into my work. I would make friends and acquaintances the way most people do, like talk to the people in the cubicle next to you, or like make friends with all of these cool people. And slowly but surely, I would build up a few friends that I would know here, who I could go out with, explore San Antonio with, and, just get to know the place and have my own foundation here. When I moved, I had a few good friends that I still am friends with, but they're not really that close anymore. So one of them was my maid of honor. The other one is her boyfriend, who is also a really good friend of mine, who I've been friends with longer. And they are still going through like school, and he's in a band, so he's always touring, so he's everywhere. And so I don't get to see them that much anymore. And they don't always have time to chat. And a few of my other friends, one of them's a mom, so she's really busy. And the other one, she's also going through school, and she's trying to figure out the whole job life thing. So most of my friends are pretty busy, and I can't just monopolize all their time when I'm just not feeling okay. I do still reach out to them, but it's not the same as having somebody that you can have over for wine, or go out on a girls' night, or, go get your nails done together. Things that I liked to do with them when I was living closer. But when I moved here, I had a little bit of struggles with the job thing. And I did finally get into a pretty steady job, and I was there for almost a year. A little close to a year, if not a whole year. And I felt like I'd made some good friends. And since then, I don't talk to any of them. So that's how that went. And then I started a new job. And I was there for 6 months. And I thought I'd made a lot of cool new friends. And now I don't talk to most of them. There are a few people, admittedly, that I do still get to talk to and see, but it's still in the budding parts of a relationship. There's one person who I'm meeting with regularly now, and I feel like might actually have a cool friendship going there. But again, it's taken me about 3 years to get there, to feel like I've had one relationship that I made on my own. Making that concession because during this time I met my husband, and dated, got along, met friends, got married, all the good jazz. And through him I met one of my other good friends, who is his best friend's wife. Gotta get that right. So we're pretty close friends, but now she's got some things going on in her life, so she's a little busy, and they moved, and they're farther than they used to be. But this would be the first friend that I made on my own. And it's easy to feel frustrated and like maybe there's something wrong with me that only one person wants to get to know me or get to be my friend. And that's just not true. Why did I get into so much detail about this? Because we've all been there. A lot of us have these scary leaps of faith where we're like, you know what, something's got to change, we're going to move. We'll make new friends, or you're in a new place, you're in a new phase of your life. When you're in high school, you have all of these friends or people that you see regularly, and when you go to college, you don't talk to the same ones. But then suddenly you have a new crowd. And then when you start work, you get a new crowd, and if you switch jobs, you get a new crowd. And it can start to be exhausting to suddenly, continually run through new people and new relationships, but never feel like you have a good relationship with people. Like the kind of people that you can call up in the middle of the night and say something's wrong. Or if you're in the hospital, will come and visit you. Or if you're got a flat tire on the side of the road, you can call them and you know that they're there for you. And it is hard to go through that and to feel like not everybody is that, because not everybody really should be. That's part of what makes those kinds of relationships special. But it isn't your fault, and it isn't a character flaw or anything bad on you if you don't have that many of them, or if you have trouble making them, because those relationships are really hard, and it requires effort on two people's parts. And that was the lesson that I had the hardest time learning, because I'm a big giver. If you can ask anybody who knows me, and don't ask my mother because she'll get mad about it and go on her own little rant about it, but I'm a huge giver. If you ask for the shirt off my back because you're cold, I'd probably give it to you. I'm just that kind of person. I always have been. I probably always will be. Trying to become more skeptical so that way I just don't give away all my stuff, but been doing it for a few years now and it hasn't quite changed. But I continually run into the kinds of people who are takers, and then they take, and then I have nothing left for them, so they leave. And I get left feeling like I could have done more, or maybe it was my fault they left, when in reality, they just weren't the kind of people who were going to stick around for very long anyway. And again, I'm sharing this because I know I'm not the only person who feels that way, and I want you to know that it's not your fault. You're not weird or something's wrong with you because of it. It's just life. There's a lot of people like that, and a lot of them are meant to be your friends. Some of them are meant to teach you lessons. Some of them are meant to be a friend when you need them. I had a friend who I was finally making some good relationship, and she ended up moving. And I'm not bitter about it, I promise, and I wish her all the best. But she was here, and I needed her, and she was a really good friend. And I'm glad that I got to have her while I did. And now I get to try to make new friends. And that's life. Making friends is hard, and it requires two people. So when you're trying to make a new relationship work, trying to make new friends, it's okay if they don't work out. It's okay if it takes forever. It's okay if it takes off really quickly and then fades out just as quickly. Every relationship is different, and it's not all on you to make things work. There is work relationships that I'm trying to foster into friendships because we're close to the same age. There's a lot going on, but again, there's a lot going on. She's got schooling and stuff, and so she's probably going to be moving on to the next big thing in her life, and I wish her all the best, but that also means that we might not have a very close friendship for very long. And I'm learning, emphasis on learning, to be okay with it. Because it shouldn't be so personal when it happens, because that's life. Life happens a lot. And I know I sound like I'm running in circles, and I probably am, but I'm trying to really emphasize this idea that it is not all of our responsibility to maintain relationships with other people. Because I've had relationships where I'm the only person who reaches out for years until one day I stop and I never hear from them again. Or I still reach out and they just decide that they're not going to message me back. That's not all on me. It's a two-way street. And I'm going to take a break because this cat is getting into something she's not supposed to. So we're going to just scare her a little bit. Ah, what are you doing? This is Marble, and she's my troublemaker. You are valid. You are important. And you deserve to have people give you the same amount of effort as you give them. So if you're the one always picking up the tab, you're the one that's always setting up dates, take a break once in a while. Let them know it's their turn. And if they decide you're not worth the effort, then they weren't worth yours to begin with. And I know it's hard because I still have trouble with it, but that's something that we all have to learn to deal with, because there is a surprising amount of people out there who just aren't interested in being good people, that are just too busy for relationships that I don't benefit from. And you just have to be okay with letting it go. Because true friends don't want anything from you but your time. True friends don't abandon you because it's not as easy as it used to be. Good friends are there when you've got nothing left to give because they want to lift you back up. And I want you all to remember that, because you're probably thinking about somebody who fits that description of a bad friend, or you're in a place where you're trying to figure out how to make new friends and you're going to run into them. And you have to be okay with letting it go when it's not worth it. That's all I have for today. Hopefully it helped you. If you feel like sharing your story or giving me a little shout out in the comments, please do. I always appreciate that. Validation and all that. If you just want to see how I'm doing, I will try to message you back. But again, I forget stuff frequently, so I'll get back to it at some point. And have a good day. Don't forget, you're worth it. Thanks for watching.